The call came while I was 40 ft underwater. Your son is dead. 10 years old in a wheelchair, shot by our neighbor over grass length. He killed my boy and smiled in court. I'm a Navy SEAL. I know 100 ways to get justice. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The neighborhood of Westwood Pines had always carried an unsettling silence, a polished, eerie calm that seemed less like peace and more like suppression. Behind its white fences and trimmed lawns, conformity ruled like an unspoken law. And at the center of that rule stood the Homeowners Association, led by one woman whose name inspired both fear and resentment, Karen Whitmore. Karen wasn't elected. She seized power through intimidation and control. Her word was law, her complaints scripture. Every mailbox height, every paint shade, every lawn length all fell under her sharp, watchful eye. She was a tyrant dressed in pearls, wrapped in self-righteousness, fueled by the thrill of power. At the end of Cedar Lane stood a modest brick house, older, smaller, and different. The Jenkins family had moved in 3 months ago, choosing the quiet suburbs to start over. Ethan Jenkins, a boy of 12, lived there with his father Michael Jenkins, a retired Navy SEAL. Ethan was born with a severe physical disability, confining him to a wheelchair. Despite his challenges, he radiated light. His laughter, though rare, filled the neighborhood like sunlight breaking through cloud. But to Karen, difference was disorder. The ramp built along the porch, the adapted van in the driveway, the faded blue paint on the mailbox, each was an offense to her picture-perfect kingdom. She had issued warnings, letters, fines, all ignored. To her, it wasn't about the rules anymore. It was about control and punishment. On that Sunday morning, Ethan waited alone on the porch. His father had gone to town to pick up groceries, leaving him under the warm autumn sun. The neighborhood was silent except for the rustle of dry leaves. The air smelled faintly of pine and gasoline. Across the street, Karen stood watching, her arms folded, her lips tight with disapproval. She had seen it again, the ramp, that unsightly wooden structure she claimed violated HOA guidelines. She muttered about property values, aesthetics, and special treatment. Beneath her words lay something darker, a festering hatred of anything that reminded her she wasn't in complete control. That morning, she made a decision she could never take back. Karen stormed across the street, her heels striking the pavement like gunfire. She had called the city before, filed complaints. None had worked. Now she told herself she'd handle it personally. She moved past the no trespassing sign, up the porch steps, and began shouting. Ethan froze, startled, scared, help. Her words were venom. She pointed at the ramp, calling it illegal, non-compliant, an eyesore. And then her rage escalated. Neighbors later recalled hearing a crash, the sound of splintering wood, and a scream, short and sharp, cut off by silence. When they looked outside, they saw Karen standing at the base of the porch, her face pale, her hands trembling, and Ethan's wheelchair overturned beside the broken ramp. The boy lay motionless. For a moment, Karen didn't move. Then panic twisted into something else, fear of consequence. She looked around, saw curtains shifting, people watching. She fled, muttering something about an accident. But the truth was clearer than daylight. She had pushed too far, both literally and morally. The ambulance arrived 6 minutes later, but it was too late. Ethan Jenkins was pronounced dead on the scene. By the time the first police car pulled up, a black pickup truck was already speeding down the street, its tires screeching against the asphalt, the engine roaring like a storm breaking loose. Inside was Michael Jenkins. The call from dispatch had been fragmented, words drowned by static. Your son accident, ramp